Hey guys, this is Mr. Milton of the Deakin Deck Regiment bringing you yet another Commander Deck Tech video. I do apologize, it has been a while since we last uploaded a video. That's mostly because we've been pouring most of our effort into the WWW series, where we pretty much gave tutorials on how to play some of the games we play, how to build decks, etc., etc. But yeah, right now that's starting to seem a little dead in the water. Not sure what's going on there, but anyway, today I've got a very nice video for you. It's my brand new 3-color commander deck featuring Jeleva, Nephalia, Scourge. That's her there. I do apologize if there's a bit of glare, but yeah, new camera, new phone, everything. Still getting used to it. Anyway, so let's go over Jeleva herself. So she costs 1, a blue, black, and a red to cast, so that means it's a Grixis deck. She's a vampire wizard. Please remember the creature type, because that is going to be very, very relevant later on. And pretty much she's a flyer, 1/3, and when she enters, each player exiles the top X cards of his or her library, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast her. And whenever she attacks, I can cast any instant or sorcery that was exiled with her without paying the mana cost. And you might notice pink sleeves. I think this is the first time I've actually gone near pink. I always used to poke fun at Mr. Brony about having pink sleeves. Guess I can't really do that anymore. Anyway, so let's get started with the land base for this deck. So in terms of basics, we've got 4 mountains, 4 swamps, and 4, 5, 6, 7 islands. The deck doesn't really need much of red or black. It's mostly a blue deck that splashes the other two, but the dual lands tend to make up for it. So I've got the rest of the lands, which are dual lands and a bit of tech. So I got Bajuka Bog, enters tapped, but when it enters, I exile all cards from target player's graveyard, and it's tapped for a black, so what the hell. There's the new commander land, Opal Palace, taps for 1, or pay 1 and tap it to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity to your mana pool. If you spend this mana to cast your commander, it enters with +1/+1 counters equal to the number of times it's been cast from the command zone in this game. Pretty cool. Pretty useful. Standard command tower. Can't really run a command deck. Well, wouldn't really be a commander deck without command tower. There's Grixis Panorama, the only fetch land in the deck. Don't really need many, unlike Scion. Mutavault. Mutavault's in there just because it becomes a 2/2. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's quite fun to pretty much, when someone board wipes, cool, I animate my land, and I hit you. Enjoy. Let's see. Temple of the False Gods, pay 2 to add to your mana pool. Tap to add 2 to your mana pool. Activate only if you control 5 or more lands. Reliquary Tower, yay, unlimited hand size. Reflecting Pool, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that a land you control can produce. Crumbling Necropolis, enters tapped, pays for 1 of the Grixis colors. Any one of them, doesn't matter which. Now we're getting into the other ones. So Orborg's in there, as each land in addition is a swamp that affects not only myself but all my opponents as well. Pretty fun, pretty nice to do that for someone. So I'm running Rakdos Guildgate, Dimir Guildgate, and Izzet Guildgate. You're probably wondering why? Commander's a fairly slow format, so them entering tapped doesn't really matter. Temple of Deceit, quite nice scry land. I do like it. I do like the ability to scry in this deck. Very helpful. Dragon Skull Summit, Rakdos Carnarium, Watery Grave, Blood Crypt, Steam Vents, Dimir Aqueduct, and Izzet Boilerworks. So pretty much as many dual lands as I could fit into this deck that I could easily obtain. So that's pretty much the land base. Nothing entirely spectacular there. But now we're getting into the creatures, which is the main focus of the deck, and we'll see what the deck actually does. So I run Charmbreaker Devils, Stormbreath Dragon, Baleful Force. Those are the first three. So Charmbreaker Devil recurs an instant or sorcery at random at the beginning of my upkeep. So as you can tell, it's pretty instant sorcery heavy deck. I do like having this just to get things back. Don't necessarily need to play it. Then I've got Stormbreath Dragon, very handy with the protection from white. And the monstrous ability is pretty much why I put it in here. So the funny thing about Jeleva is the way I've built it is it's a draw deck. So everyone draws, and then I play that in monstrous and win, if possible. No one's let me do it so far. They all don't like it. And then there's Baleful Force just for a little extra draw for me. I mean, sure, I lose a life, but the cards tend to balance it out. Let's see what's next. Erebos, God of the Dead, Young Pyromancer, and Nightscape Familiar. So Erebos is in there because if you've been watching these videos for a long time, you'll know for a fact I despise life gain. I despise everything that has to do with white. That's why pretty much all my decks run black. So this guy's perfect for me. Yay, no one can gain life. Screw you all. Young Pyromancer. Instant sorcery heavy deck, plus I get tokens from him. Need I say more? And Nightscape Familiar. I'd actually suggest pretty much, I imagine every Grixis deck runs this, just because everything in the deck costs 2 less, usually. That is if you're building it as a strictly multicolored deck. But even then, it's brilliant in zombies. Now we're getting to the main part of the deck, where you'll see what the deck is. Let's see how many of you can guess what I've done with this deck, just going by what I said earlier about Jeleva's creature type. Come on, have a look, one last time, see if you can guess it. And time's up. So, what have I done with this deck? Ta-da! Ghost Helm Courier, Melitus Charlatan, Void Mage Prodigy, Talrand, Sigil Tracer, Glenelendra Archmage, Riptide Director, Una, Queen of the Fae, Stony Brook Banneret, Azami, Lady of Scrolls, Supreme Inquisitor, Archaeomancer, Harvengor Lich, and Laboratory Maniac. Has anyone noticed what they all have in common? Ding ding ding! Correct, they're all wizards. I have gone out of my way to make Jeleva Tribal Wizard. Why? Because it's fun. Don't argue with me on this one. It's absolutely fun. Anyway, so let's go through what all the wizards actually do. So, Lab Maniac. I don't think I have to explain that one to anyone. Archaeomancer enters to recur an instant or sorcery from my grave. Supreme Inquisitor. Tap 5 untapped wizards I control. Search target player's library for up to 5 cards and remove them from the game. Then that player shuffles his or her deck. With 5 wizards out, this thing is brilliant for thinning out decks and just eliminating threats. It goes really well with another card you'll see later on. Harvengor Lich. Pay 1 to play any creature I want from the grave. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's nothing more to say about it. Azami, Lady of Scrolls. Most of the creatures in the deck are wizards, as you've seen, so it's pretty much tap my field, draw that many cards. Yay! Riptide Director. Because Azami isn't enough. Stony Brook Banneret. Wizards I could play, cost 1 less to play. Ignore the merfolk. No one cares about merfolks. Glenelendra Archmage. Pay a blue and sack her to counter target non-creature spell. And she has persist, so I can do it twice. Una, Queen of the Fae. Most of you will recognize her as the commander of one of my other decks. I like her enough that she's going into this one as well, plus tokens. Tokens forever. Sigil Tracer. Pay 1 and a blue, tap 2 untapped wizards I control. Copy target instant or sorcery. You may choose new targets for the copy. Play a counterspell. I dare you. Talrand. Because playing instants and sorceries also means getting a 2/2 Drake. Because why not? Void Mage Prodigy. Pay 2 blue, sack a wizard, counter target spell. Sounds like a pretty decent deal, especially with Harvingor Lich on the field. Malicious Charlatan. Pay 2 and a blue. The controller of target instant or sorcery copies it. That player then may choose new targets for the spell. Pretty much something if you want to do something nice for someone and get something nice in return. Yeah, so someone plays a draw spell. Oh, I want it too. Here, I'll copy it for you. Give me a copy. And Ghost Helm Courier. Now you can choose to untap him or not during your untap step, but you can pay 2 and a blue and tap him. As long as he remains tapped, target wizard gets +2/+2 and can't be the target of spells or abilities. So what he does, in essence, is for 2 and a blue and remaining tapped, he gives the target wizard +2/+2 and Shroud. The guy's a fun guy. Not many people like him. And I actually thought I had a game with him, but I didn't. I failed. Anyway, so on to instants and sorceries. So there's Ixidor's Will, Psychic Trance, and Spell Crumple as the counters in the deck. Tribal Wizard, and you'd expect a bit more counters, right? Well, here's why there aren't that many. Spell Crumple is your basic counter. Comes in most of the commander decks. I'm not going to argue with it. It's done plenty for me. Psychic Trance is the reason that I don't run too many counters, and it's because, as an instant, for 2 and 2 blue, until end of turn, wizards I control gain tap to counter target spell. My mind literally exploded when I saw this. I happened to be looking up the word wizard on Gatherer, and I found it. And yeah, my brain just exploded the moment I saw that. So I thought, Jeleva plus this. Let's make Tribal Wizard. Because why not? And Ixidor's Will. Now, a lot of people say, I know a lot of people say that spells with mana costs in them are pretty much useless. The reason this one isn't is because the deck focuses on having so many wizards out that it becomes nearly impossible, unless you're a green deck, to pay the cost to counter Ixidor's Will. Which is actually pretty cool. This almost won me a game. The only reason that I didn't win was because my opponent had a Boros Garrison on the field. I didn't notice it. I didn't realize he had 8 mana, which is exactly what I planned for him not to have. So let's move on to the board wipes. Curse of Swine and Decree of Pain. Decree of Pain is especially nice. So pretty much destroy all creatures, can't be regenerated. Draw a card for each creature destroyed this way. I don't think I need to tell any of you why that's so good. And let's move on. So, Curse of Swine. Mr. Fishy has a different name for it. He calls it Swine Flu. In fact, when it was spoiled, he started the hashtag Swine Flu 2014. I'm not sure how that went down outside of our group of friends, but it was interesting. So exile X target creatures. For each creature exiled this way, its controller puts a 2/2 green boar creature token onto the battlefield. So pretty much take away all their nice things. Give them pigs. And then eat bacon. Because bacon. Now let's go through the tutoring. Really only 2 tutor cards in the deck. That's Praetor's Grasp and Increasing Ambition. So Increasing Ambition, search for a card, put it into your hand. If you cast it from your grave, so pretty much you flashback it. Instead search your deck for 2 cards and add them to hand. Then shuffle. Nice. It is quite nice. I do quite like it. It's turned out to be better than a lot of the other tutor moves I've used. Then you've got Praetor's Grasp. Search target opponent's library for a card and exile it face down. That player then shuffles his or her library. You may look at the card and play it for as long as it remains exiled. One thing to note is that this allows you to play it. It doesn't say you can play it without paying the mana cost, so usually you want to use it on someone who shares colors with you, which sadly I haven't had the opportunity to do, but it does seem pretty fun. It does seem like it could be very useful. So then there's Rakdos's Return. That's pretty much just to deal finishing blows to people. I don't really care about the discard, I just want to be able to deal X damage. I mean, the discard's fine. Discard's alright. Because, like, there's a chance I could force them to discard a counter. But, in the end, it's the damage that I really care about. Plus, it forces counters, so, Prosperity. Incendiary Command. Steam Augury, Skyscribing, and Whispering Madness. Now these are the draw spells of the deck. So Whispering Madness, each player discards his or her hand and then draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded this way. Because my Jeleva deck focuses on me drawing, I can actually use this to draw a lot of people out or even sort of pseudo-mill them. I mean, they're going to be drawing cards and then discarding them, so I'm getting them to the grave somehow or another. Skyscribing, each player draws X cards. Steam Augury, it's not necessarily a draw card, but, I mean, you get cards to your hand. So, I'm going to lump it in with the draw cards, and it's actually really good. I really do like it. It's, it allows your opponents to kind of mess with you, but at the same time, depending on what's there, it can really benefit you. Incendiary Command. Each player pretty much discards a hand and then draws that many. That's the main mode I use. And then you've got Prosperity. Each player draws X cards. It's a slightly cheaper version of Skyscribing. Now, let's look at all the other stuff I've got. So, I've got Illusionist Gambit, Mana Short, Increasing Vengeance, Tempt with Vengeance, Tempt with Reflections, Psychic Intrusions, Sudden Spoiling, Sadistic Sacrament, Commandeer, and Spin into Myth. Spin into Myth you'll find in most of my decks. It's an amazing card. I really do love it, especially Fate Seal. In fact, I really do wish Fate Seal was a thing again because it was just pure awesome. So Fate Seal is look at the top 2 cards of an opponent's library, then put any number of them on the bottom of that player's deck, and the rest on top in any order. So you scry for your opponent, and it's actually really cool. So Commandeer, you may remove 2 blue cards in your hand from the game rather than pay its mana cost of 5 and 2 blue. Gain control of target non-creature spell. You may choose new targets for it. It's really good. I haven't had the chance to play it yet, but from what I've seen, it's actually really, really nice. I've watched some of our other players use it, and it's just ruined the game so many times. Sadistic Sacrament. This is what goes really well with the Supreme Inquisitor. Pretty much when you kick it, you take 15 cards from your opponent's deck, exile them, and then shuffle their deck. You essentially have the chance to neuter your opponent. I've done it so many times to one of our other players, and he absolutely hates me for it. He just doesn't like seeing that card ever. So Sudden Spoiling. Split second. Creature's target player controls become 0/2 and lose all abilities till end of turn. Great lifesaver if you're close to winning, but you need to survive one last combat phase. Psychic Intrusion. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land from that player's grave or hand and exile it. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that card. Again, you'd probably only use it on people who you share a mana colors with. Because sadly in Commander, if you steal someone's red card and you don't run red, you can't actually pay the mana for it, which is really, really stupid. But it makes the game fairer, so I understand why that's a thing. Tempt with Reflections. I do this mostly on little things that I like the Young Pyromancer, just to accelerate the way I get tokens. Yeah, it just really depends. Like, a lot of people say yes. Well, some people say yes. A lot of people say no. But still, like, you get a copy, and you have the opportunity to get more copies of something. It's not really a losing situation. Tempt with Vengeance. Put X11 red elemental tokens with haste onto the battlefield. Each opponent may put X11 red elemental creatures with haste onto the battlefield. For each player who does, put X11 red elemental creatures with haste onto the battlefield. So I've done this before, and a lot of people said yes, and I ended up with about 24, 27 elemental tokens. It was actually pretty nice until Norrin started sniping them every turn, and I slowly but surely lost field presence. Increasing Vengeance is there to copy counterspells, for the most part, or just anything nice. Mana Short is there to pretty much say no to someone who I know can deal some serious damage to the game. And Illusionist Gambit. Once again, it's another card to pretty much keep me in the game at least one more turn. I do like it. It's actually really nice because it redirects the attack at someone else, essentially. And I really do like the idea. It's such a brilliant card. So now we're going to move on to the artifacts. You can go over there. So, the staples in the deck are Lightning Greaves, Darksteel Plate, and Soul Ring. Soul Ring, tap to add 2 to your mana pool. Darksteel Plate, it's indestructible. Crypt Creature is indestructible. And Lightning Greaves. Crypt Creature has haste and Shroud. Yay! Yep. Then we go to the other things I run. So I run Temple Bell for a little extra draw. Hellvault for a nice little combo. Mirari for more spell duplicating shenanigans. Crumpling Sanctuary I really do love. I'll explain why in a little bit. And Pixis of Pandemonium. Pixis is really nice because it's one of those really, really weird cards that just has the potential to make the game really stupid. So tap, things go under it, things get exiled face down under it, pay 7 and break it. You've opened up Pandora's box and unleashed everything inside. I really do love it. It was released in Theros, and I love the flavor on it. I love the flavor of it. It's just one of my favorite cards in the set. So far, the block even. So Crumbling Sanctuary. For each 1 damage that would be dealt to a player, that player removes the top card of his or her library from the game instead. So I played this in one of the games that I was playing probably a month ago. I was on 5 life, and I was about to die. I still had about 30 cards in deck. That pretty much kept me in the game for a few more turns. It was really, really fun, and it really messed with my opponent. It was hilarious. So Mirari, spell doubling shenanigans, nothing spectacular. Temple Bell, tap, everyone draws a card. Again, nothing really special. Hell Vault. Now, a lot of people, I don't know, they pretty much use that just to crack it themselves and bring their stuff back. In my case, when Jeleva's out on the field, tap, into the Hell Vault. Nope, really going to the command zone. Now, I actually had a few people, including one of the really serious players in our group, ask me why I would do that. And I said, well, it's going to the command zone, meaning I can cast it again and exile even more stuff. And he was thoroughly impressed by it. He reckons he never would have thought of the combo, or at least he wouldn't have thought of it for a while. I actually stumbled onto that almost by accident, but it was actually a very nice find as far as I'm concerned. So moving on to the enchantments, and then we've got 2 planeswalkers and we're done. You won't have to listen to my voice anymore. So we've got Propaganda. Creatures can't attack me unless they pay 2, well, unless the controller pays 2 for each creature that's attacking me. Spiteful Visions. Everyone gets to draw an extra card at their turn, but you take a damage for each card you draw. Meh. Bitter Blossom. A card that recently saw a spike in price, and I hate that, because I absolutely love this card. I wanted like 50 more copies of it, but I never got around to getting more. So, beginning of your upkeep, lose 1 life, get a 1/1 Black Fairy Rogue to the field. Goblin Assault. Beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 red goblin creature with haste onto the field. Goblin creatures attack each turn if able. Funny game with Norrin about that. Norrin is all goblins. Silly Kiki Jiki. Hammer of Perforos. Haste. That's pretty much all I use it for. I don't care about the golems, just haste. Fervor. More haste. Emblem of Warmind. Really, really weird way to get haste, but still actually pretty cool, and really cheap for what it does. Then there's Mind Over Matter. Love this one. I saw a mate play this against me in his Arcanist deck, and I thought, that's actually really cool. With the number of cards I'm drawing in Jeleva, that would actually be incredibly useful. So choose a card, discard a card, or choose and discard a card, tap or untap target artifact, creature, or land. Empty your hand, untap all lands and field. Conspiracy. As it enters, name a creature type. Creatures you control, creatures in your grave, hand, and library are of the chosen type. So pretty much what I'll do is I'll call wizards. Suddenly all my goblin tokens are wizards. Fairies? Wizards. Elementals? Wizards! They're all wizards, Harry. Just deal with it. And dual casting. More spell copying shenanigans. If you're wondering why I'm a little strange right now, it's because I haven't had much sleep, and I've pretty much worked nearly 7 days in a row. I'm not that happy about that. Anyway, so Liliana of the Dark Realms and Ashiok. So pumped they finally made a decent blue-black Night Planeswalker, and it seems like it was made just for me. So Liliana of the Dark Realms, +1, tutor for a swamp. -3, target creature gets +X/+X or -X/-X till end of turn, where X is the number of swamps you control. Ultimate, get an emblem that says your swamps, tap for 4 black. I'll just put that there because it's too awesome. And Ashiok, +2, exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library. -X, Put a creature card with converted mana cost of X, exiled with Ashiok, onto the field, under your control. That creature is a nightmare in addition to its other types. And -10, exile all cards from all opponents' hands and graveyards. As far as I'm concerned, that ultimate is brutal, and I love it. Absolutely love it. Anyway, so that was my Jeleva deck. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. I almost enjoyed making it. This is the 7th take that I've had to do because I wasn't happy with the others. Anyway, so ignore my rambling, please. I'm sorry, I do tend to ramble. I can't really help it. And I'm rambling again. So, please like our video, subscribe, and recommend that your friends watch. I mean, if you've got friends who are new to Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or even Vanguard, run them by our WWW videos. They are quite informative. We've done our best to actually get them out there, and I do hope that you find them helpful. We all do. Anyway, so this is Mr. Milton signing off. Enjoy the rest of your week, YouTube.